Ready to take the next step? No matter your financial need, Goppert Financial Bank is your local lending solution. From refinancing or purchasing your new home, to growing your small business, to taking your farming operation to the next level, we will take that next step with you. Stop by or visit us online at goppertfb.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Connie Whitlock with the Pleasant Hill Times, and I'm here with Ryan Johson, the North District Commissioner of Cass County. How you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Yeah. We had a nice long pre-interview, so we are ready for this interview.
It was a good conversation.
It was a great conversation, and we'll have some of it again and get to know you. Let's get to know you first.
Sure.
You're married.
I am.
To Becky.
To Becky for 22 years.
22 years, and you live in Raymore.
We do.
Right? And so you were running for Congress.
Yeah, well, I guess to start, Becky and I have lived in Raymore for almost 15 years. Mm-hmm. We have 3 kiddos. And then, I ran for this position, county commissioner, in 2020.
So you just came in to be commissioner.
I did. I started
recently.
in January.
So I was really confused because
less than a year into the job.
Right, you came in as commissioner, and then all of a sudden you wanted to be in Congress. So
I don't know
what was
if I
that
would
about?
say want to be. So I have like a lot of people in public service, felt called to serve in some capacity. Serve something greater than yourself. Mm-hmm. And, when I ran for commissioner, and I still am, very committed to being the best county commissioner that I possibly can. I've never done this before, so there's a bit of a learning curve, but I feel like we're addressing that pretty quickly and hopefully doing a good job for the citizens of Cass. A few months into that, maybe not even a few, Roy Blunt kind of shocked the political world in Missouri by announcing his retirement early, 2 years early.
That's right.
With that, you had Vicky Hartzler's entrance into the U.S. Senate race, and so for her, it's either up or out. She either wins that U.S. Senate race, or if she doesn't, then she's out of office. Can't run for both at the same time. So her entrance into that race automatically opened up the 4th Congressional. And that was, I will say, no small amount of deliberation and prayer and those kinds of things went into that. And, still feel called, still would love to serve, if the opportunity, presented itself in the future.
Do you still have kids at home?
We do. So, 3 months into that congressional campaign, we were raising money and traveling and literally talking to, thousands of voters. Went to D.C. one time and did that, a series of meetings there. My wife is actually from the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay, you guys met in the military. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure, I served 8 years active duty military in between 2 different branches.
Okay.
So I served first in the United States Army. I was a combat engineer, which is to say I got to blow things up for a living for
Did you
3+
go overseas
years.
or just stay?
I did. I went to Panama and a little bit of some other work there, and then I got out of the Army and joined the Coast Guard immediately thereafter. Now I was 5th generation Army.
What did you blow up in Panama?
Well, we were actually not deployed there for that, but the job of a combat engineer is literally demolitions and booby traps and explosives and landmines and obstacles and breaching obstacles.
Did you do
all
that?
All of those things. I got to do a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah. But in Panama, we were actually charged with guarding and securing Cuban refugees who were in the process, this is in the mid-'90s, who were fleeing Cuba on these makeshift rafts, trying to escape communism. The Coast Guard picked them up and put them originally at Guantanamo Bay in camps, trying to figure out what to do with them.
You were down there doing this?
Not in Cuba, but then they sent my unit to Panama. So they created a series of 5 camps along the canal zone in Panama, which we still owned at the time. Again, in the mid-'90s, they housed hundreds of Cuban refugee families, as well as singles there in these camps. I mean, it was a lot of people. They didn't like being in these camps. I mean, they were nice camps with large tents and
Right.
showers
Right.
and mess halls and,
Right.
anything and everything that we would have had as soldiers, they had, but they were also behind a fence because they couldn't just let them out into the Panamanian population. So they got upset. They rioted. They injured some Air Force security police. I think rumor has it they killed one guy. I don't know. But long story short, I was in the
Man.
1st Cavalry Division, which was a rapid deployment unit, still is, which means you're able to be anywhere in the world within 18 hours, on behalf of your country when the country calls. So we had just gotten back from 15 days on a 50 cal range at Fort Hood, Texas, in December of, I think, 95, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4. Anyway,
Wow.
we were alerted, and 18 hours later, we were in Panama. And we were sent there to basically
Okay.
stop them from rioting
wanna
and make
know.
them not riot anymore.
I want to know, what did you fly there in?
I don't remember. It was
You
a
don't
very
remember?
it was a very large Air Force aircraft.
Okay.
Perhaps a C-5. Or,
I didn't know if it was those
so-
helicopter things that,
Well, we had to fly from Central Texas to Panama.
All right.
Down by
But
the
did you end
equator.
up in the helicopter?
I've been in a helicopter, but not in Panama.
Those things are huge.
The Blackhawks are. It's a
Oh.
nice, nice.
They're so cool.
machine.
They go over my house every once in a while.
Yeah,
I was like, I wonder what it's like inside. But
So yeah,
I heard they go far.
yeah.
So I thought maybe
Yeah,
you.
their ranges.
know.
We were an armored division,
Okay.
so I was not a tanker. I was an engineer, but we worked a lot with those guys.
So being an
good.
engineer, so you created the booby traps?
We didn't design them, but we certainly utilized them.
So tell me exactly what
only
you
in-
did. I mean,
only in training.
I'm trying to figure this out. What did exactly
Well, for
you do?
something that people might be familiar with would be like a claymore mine, which is a curved anti-personnel mine.
Okay.
That it literally has on the front of it front towards enemy.
Okay.
So you would set that or set a series of those facing where the enemy might eventually.
And they actually see
go
them, so
through.
they know to stay away. Or are they?
The idea would be that you would not want your enemy to know that they're.
Oh,
there when
okay.
they go
Well,
off.
you said
And
you
then they
pointed
shoot-
to them, and I thought maybe they'd
Right,
see it. They
has
wouldn't get
a
hurt.
curved front. It says front towards enemy on it, so it should be idiot proof.
It's like the boxes you get in, It's point from this end up.
Yeah, so,
So,
I mean,
that
the-
end towards the enemy.
The idea was you would be maybe set those in a row of trees or something like that, and the enemy would be walking through and trip a tripwire, and that would set it off, and
Dang.
it shoots
So
out.
that actually happened?
I was not a combat veteran, so this was all in training.
Oh, okay.
But
well, that's good.
These,
That's a
the-
good,
these
better
are these are real world items that
are
that
utilized.
soldiers and Marines use
Yeah.
when they go to war
Yeah.
to defend the country.
And then you were in the Coast Guard.
I was, which, I was 5th generation Army, and my granddad, God rest his soul, was a retired Major General. So when I joined the Coast Guard, he kind of had the comment of, what the heck is the Coast Guard? It was a fun family joke.
Okay.
But no, I really believe that God led me into the Coast Guard because a few short months later, I met my wife, the lady who became my wife, named
Aw.
Becky. And that's just been a real blessing. I was a young 20-something praying for a wife, and God opened up that door, and I was smart enough to listen.
You were actually praying for a wife.
I was, yes,
Oh.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that
So,
happened.
It did.
God
It
answered
did.
your
He
prayers.
did.
And how long have you been married again?
22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
And
It'll
hey,
be-
that's definitely a God thing.
Yeah, 23 years on May 15th of next year. So,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So you're associate commissioner?
So yeah, it's got a couple of titles. It's
Yeah.
commissioner, District 2. It's associate commissioner,
North,
District
South,
2. It's
right?
called the North Commissioner. Bottom line, I'm one of 3 county commissioners. Yes, an associate commissioner.
Yeah.
There are 2 of us. There is a presiding commissioner named Bob Houston, who runs in the whole county. The 2 associate commissioners run in districts.
All
I'm in
nice
District
men
2.
too. They're really fun. They're really fun
Yeah.
to be around. I know I see Bob Houston and his grandchildren. I think
Yes.
he has twin grandchildren.
Well, so they're close. A really cool thing. He has 2 daughters who
Yeah.
are close in age, and they both had
Gotcha.
children
Gotcha.
a month apart.
Okay.
So they're cousins, but they are.
But they look like twins in his
They
arms.
do, and
Right?
we were at the annual Veterans Day parade just this last Saturday with Bob and with Jody, his wife, and he got to bring one of his grandsons out to do his first political parade ever. So he was in the stroller, and Miss Jody
Political
was
parade.
pushing
What
him.
parade was this?
Well, I say political parade, but it was the annual Belton Veterans Day parade.
Gotcha.
With Veterans Day coming up this week, so
Yeah.
yeah.
We're all for the veterans, right? Doesn't
I'm
matter what
for my
side
federal
you're on.
veterans.
There's no politics in being a veteran, hopefully. Hopefully.
right.
Let's
Hopefully.
not even go there.
Hopefully.
Okay, so Commissioner, roads probably is your number one thing that you take care of.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about
Sure. It's not glamorous by any stretch, but
how many miles of roads are
yeah.
there
So
in Cass County?
about 1,200
Now-
that we're responsible for.
Okay, I was
going
gonna
to
say.
That does not include city and municipal
Pleasant
roads.
Hill, Belton, Peculiar, Raymore.
You got it. And it also does not
Harrisonville.
Include state roads.
Really?
So
like 58.
291, 58. Yeah. Yeah,
But still,
exactly.
there's how many miles again?
So we're responsible with about a staff of a little over 30
Mm-hmm.
in our road and bridge department, 1,200 miles of road. And that is actually a lot of road to maintain on the budget that we are able to.
How much is a mile?
To do a road well, like to chip and seal or to reclaim a gravel road, it would cost about $100,000 a mile. And that's us or our department and our staff doing it in-house, which actually saves money. Meaning we're not contracting with a private company. It is Cass County Road and Bridge employees, and it costs about $100,000 a mile. So you do the math, 20 miles of road costs $2 million. So that money, that tax, sales tax revenue and the property tax revenue that goes towards our road and bridge department goes really quick. 30 miles of road in a year is actually a really good year for our current road and bridge department. We could use more people, quite frankly, and I don't think there would ever be enough money to really cover it the way
You
that
have
it
to
needs
learn
be.
how to man those big machines, I guess.
Sure. I mean, you have the road graders, which are huge.
Do you train?
You have. Well, I don't.
I
but
know you're
yeah,
hiring. Oh, no, you don't, but you have people to
But we have
train,
people
right?
that do that. Our road and bridge superintendent, his name is Dillard Mines, does a very good job. And then we have another woman who helps run kind of the administrative side of things down there named Kelly Ray. And both of them are just exemplary employees.
But if
and
you
do
have a
great
young
job.
man that wants a job,
Absolutely.
do they already have to know how to use the machinery, or do you train?
It's great to have experience, of course, but yes, they do provide training.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about what's coming up in your redistricting. I know I've seen a little bit about this on Facebook.
Sure.
Whenever anything like this comes up, there's always a group of people like,
Right. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what that means for Cass County, why they're redistricting, and what could it end up looking like?
Right. So I'll even go a little step further. There are actually 3 levels of redistricting that are going to happen, and it happens every 10 years as a result of the census. So there will be what happens here locally in Cass County that the Cass County Commission is charged by Missouri state statute to do, and that is the 2 associate districts will be redrawn by the county commission, voted on, and then approved by
By the
virtue
3
of
of
that vote
you.
by the 3 of us. So it has to be a majority.
Will that be
vote.
public?
Oh yes, absolutely. All of it will be public.
When do you think that will be?
I would imagine within the next couple of months. We're already starting to kind of look at it, look at maps, and look at
You'll let me
the
know,
census
right?
data. Absolutely, absolutely. And I would love.
And I'll
to,
let you know.
And I would love to have a couple of public hearings on it, just so people could have the opportunity to come and to listen and to talk and to share their opinions. But yeah, traditionally, like I said, they've talked about my district, which is really technically Belton, Raymore, and Peculiar, as the North Commissioner. Well, if you know anything about Cass County geography, you know that Pleasant Hill is really in the northern part of the county, but I don't get to represent Pleasant Hill. So if it were mathematically possible, I would love to have, and that's the thing, the state statute says the math has to work. It has to be about a 50-50 district by population.
How did it end up? How warped it is now? I mean, because you've got
Yeah.
that long.
And the southern district is really more like a southern northern, kind of an
Right,
L-shaped
right,
district.
right.
And you've got me with this little triangle of Belton, Raymore, and Peculiar.
How dare them?
I know that was the previous commission, and I think a commissioner, the way I understand it, one of the former commissioners kind of drew it the way he thought it should
I want
be.
this.
Yeah,
L.
and the other two commissioners agreed. I mean, I think it was like that easy. They might have done it on the back
But
of a
it's a
napkin.
possibility to do that. But the thing is Belton is so top heavy, right?
Belton is, a little bit north of 20,000, and
Do you
Raymore
count the
same.
cities?
So yes, but the way that the census, so we rely upon the Census Bureau's data. And they provide us with the data broken out into kind of three different maps. You have these large census tracts. You have what they call like a block level. So we'll end up having to probably, and it's kind of a small, medium, and large. We'll probably have to use the medium version one
Okay.
to get the math right.
Okay,
But it won't look like any. It won't. These lines seem to be drawn again by the Federal Census Bureau, irrespective of the municipal lines or like our voting precinct lines. Like it doesn't match with what our maps look like.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. You got all these cities. If you just divide it up evenly, you might get more roads than Monty because there's more city over there than over there. So are you going to make sure that the rural part is even?
That's one of the big things is we want to make sure that rural Cass County has equal representation. And Monty, my fellow commissioner, lives in the southern part of the district and lives out in the country or the rural areas.
Where does he live? Peculiar?
South of Harrisonville.
Okay.
Kind of south of Harrisonville, south of Freeman.
You're more up here. He's more down there.
Yeah,
There
absolutely. Now, there has been some talk, not by me, but by others, about trying to draw an east-west district. I think the trouble that you might have there, though, you mentioned Belton. Let's say you split east-west, Raymore and Belton was maybe the dividing line. You potentially risk having two associate commissioners, one from Belton, one from Raymore.
Oh.
So I think keeping it a north-south split makes sense to make sure that rural Cass County is always equally represented and that the southern portion of the county, which is definitely more rural, has equal representation on the commission. So I'd like to see that continue and maybe try to draw like a true northern district that would encompass, Belton, Raymore, Raintree, Lake Winnebago.
I keep forgetting
and
that Lake
Pleasant
Winnebago
Hill.
is Cass County.
It is, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people forget that.
I mean, I actually, are they paying taxes as the city of Lake Winnebago, or are they considered rural?
So they have, of course, everybody pays, county taxes. I live in Raymore.
Okay,
in the city,
so right.
I Cass County gets their fair share of my money too.
Gotcha.
But Winnebago would have their city taxes, I'm sure.
Okay.
And then they also would have county as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the library.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about the book, about the famous book in Cass County that somebody saw. I believe it was in Harrisonville. It's I guess considered a sexual book for children. Let's just put it like that. Right. And what's the name of the book? You know
it's called It's Perfectly Normal.
It's Perfectly Normal. So this is kind of blown up into a bigger deal.
Really has,
yeah. I was real surprised because for me, I would have just taken the book. I would have taken it out on loan and just, I lost it.
Yeah.
You know, but no. Now they're making. They've gone to the commissioners and they've said, "This is something we don't want because you actually appoint
the Board of Trustees."
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So when I came in, became a new commissioner, I learned that we do appoint the Board of Trustees for the Cass County Library, and one of the things that I wanted to do was to make sure that we had new ideas and new energy on the board. So we were able to appoint someone new to the board this year and actually advertised that we're taking applications, which was a first as far as I'm told. So I'm glad that we were able to do that, but more definitely needs to be done. But what I've learned, unfortunately in my opinion, but what I've learned is that the Cass County Commission, beyond appointing the Board of Trustees, has very little power or authority over what the board actually does, and advised actually by our county lawyer that we do not have the right to remove or replace a Board of Trustees member.
You can't unappoint them.
Correct.
And so how long do they have in
So
there?
it's a 4-year term.
Okay.
So which means who we appoint becomes really important. But, unless state law changes in the future. But so what happened was there was a citizen complaint about this book. It's Perfectly Normal. I'd never heard of it.
What, the complaint or the book?
I'd never heard of the book. And then we got
It's
the
Perfectly
complaint.
Normal.
Yeah, the book is called It's Perfectly Normal. I had never heard of that book.
It was a joke, Ryan.
Oh.
But that's okay. Keep going.
So anyway, we got this complaint that came in one evening. It was forwarded to me. The next morning, I walked across from the courthouse down to the library in Harrisonville, talked to the librarian. She was very nice. She walked me right into the children's section after I asked about this book, and she showed me where it was in the stacks. And then I checked it out. It was, in the children's section again. And I was about, a little over, my knee, mid-thigh in terms of height. So it was
Pretty
very
accessible to a child, but in the children's section.
Absolutely. And I mean, my question to the librarian as I started to thumb through this, I turned, red.
You actually got to read it.
Oh yeah, I've been cover to cover.
Really?
No, it's.
I looked it up online and I
Yeah.
saw a couple pages,
Yeah.
and that was enough for me. I was just
It's terribly graphic.
Yeah, it is
I
very
mean,
graphic.
It's all cartoon illustrations.
I learned something.
But it is
like,
it is terribly
wow.
graphic, and it's just not age appropriate for
I-
And the book actually says by its authors and or publishers on the very top of it that it's recommended for 10 and above. I would say at least 13 and
So
above.
what's the pushback? I don't understand. I mean, that's one thing I just didn't understand. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, we'll put it up here, but no, there's such a pushback.
Well,
What's going on there?
it's incredible that we have to fight this kind of a culture war here in Cass County, of all places, especially given the makeup and the voting patterns and history of Cass County.
But what's the understanding from their point of
So
view?
we took the complaint and we started to get other complaints, and the citizens were asking us to please ask the library to move the book into a different, more age-appropriate section of the library.
And they had already asked them.
Where littles, couldn't just stumble upon this thing
Sure.
and start thumbing through it, let alone check it out. So that was the request. Now, we had a previously scheduled work session. We were outside of the 24-hour public notice window, which means we could still add content to that work session. So we added library as an item that the commission would talk about in this public work session. Well, library staff apparently paid attention to those public notices and of their own volition showed up to the Cass County Commission's public work session.
Mm-hmm.
They saw library on the agenda. It was the director, the assistant director, and I think their communications director. So 3 of them showed up. And because they were there, they wanted to talk to us about it. We moved them to the front of the line. And
What'd they say?
Well, so they talked about the book. It was Monty who first asked if they could simply move the book. The library director was fairly adamant that she would not move the book.
And did she give a reason? Because it wasn't appropriate
She
for them.
did. She said she talked about intellectual freedom, and she was worried that
Intellectual freedom doesn't go with kids.
doesn't pertain to children.
No.
I made that point to her.
Yeah, that's
And I talked about that, whether it's public school,
appalling.
private school, home school, library system.
Children
we as
don't
adults,
read porn either.
That is correct.
So-
and nor should they.
That's why we have ratings on movies.
That is correct. So she really dug her heels in on this issue.
Why? Why do you think? I mean, did she? Other than that, that's the
I don't
only
get
reason
to,
she.
I don't get to judge your heart, but I do get
Well,
to be
that's not what I
discern-
meant,
I
but-
do get to be discerning about her actions and what I saw and what I heard.
Did she say anything about her worldview?
She did not.
She did not.
She really kind of dug in and seemed to camp out, in my opinion anyway, on the concept of this intellectual
Was she
freedom.
young or older?
No, I think she's. I don't know how old she is, but she's
You can't guess because it's a woman. That's
certainly
right.
you
don't want to go there.
certainly mid-career or
Okay,
or,
mid-career.
or longer.
Sure. That's safe to say.
Yeah. So, and it's actually my understanding that she has since retired. I was advised by that.
She's since retired from.
Recently retired from our library system. I was told that by
So
a
this-
board member, a library board member.
Is that confirmed?
I was told that in my capacity as a county commissioner by a
Okay.
library board of trustees member that she had retired.
So this is the direct. Is she appointed?
She is hired and fired
Okay.
by the library board of trustees.
Well, that makes things interesting, doesn't it?
It does. So, and we will get another opportunity to appoint a new board member. These terms expire annually. They're not all up at the same time, but in June of next year, another board
Well-
appointment will come up, someone's term will expire, and we will appoint a new member of the Library Board of Trustees. And we will continue to do so until that Library Board of Trustees is reflective of the values and the vision of the majority of voters in Cass County.
Well, I'll also pass on this. We had someone call in. They actually wrote a letter to the editor. I don't know if you read it in the paper. I don't know if you had our paper at that time. The last time someone was appointed, apparently there was some people upset that Pleasant Hill didn't get represented in that appointment. So how many cities are represented in that committee?
We certainly didn't look at it in terms of like geographic representation. I think that there was a member of the Pleasant Hill community who had previously served on the Library Board of Trustees, and if I'm not mistaken, his position was one of the ones that expired in June of this year, and his position is one of the ones that we appointed someone new to.
Was he up again, or could he not come back?
Yeah, so you could reapply.
Did he not?
I believe he did.
Okay.
And he was not reappointed.
Okay.
Some of these members of the Board of Trustees, I'm told, have served as long as 15 years.
Is that why?
It's important for me, and I think my fellow commissioners agreed that, at least in terms of how we voted, that we have some new people and some new ideas and maybe some new vision, and I think that that's good. These are not lifetime appointments; they're volunteer positions. It's great that you can find someone who's willing to serve their community and volunteer for 15 plus years. So I'd actually never had the opportunity to meet the outgoing Board of Trustees member, but I've heard he's a wonderful person.
So do you not meet the people you appoint? You just look at their resumes?
Well, so he was appointed prior to my service,
right.
and was really kind of finishing as I was coming into my role.
Right. So you kind of already made your decision since he was there for a long time, and did you want to just replace anybody that has been there a long time?
One of the things that I had asked, and this was just me speaking for myself, but one of the things that I had asked was, what was the process for appointment? For instance, when you went down to, if you wanted to, I think previously, if you wanted to serve on the Library Board of Trustees, you might go in there and fill out at the library a library branded application. And unfortunately, I think while well-intended, that connotes that these board of directors potentially work for the library system, which is just not true. As the Board of Trustees, they set vision, they set policy, they do the budget, they hire and fire the director. They don't work for the director. The director works for the board. And the staff really works for the board. So it's a really important role. And I just wanted to make sure that we, as a commission, had a system. We did something very simple, like a press release. I think perhaps you received it, advertising that these various board positions have expired and that we're taking new applications. I think we did a Facebook post. And I was really surprised and impressed how many applications we got from citizens from all over the county that had expressed interest in serving.
So how do you select somebody?
So it's a bit arbitrary, right? And meaning there's no list of qualifications somewhere or something like that.
Because it could be random.
It
don't
could
they have
be.
to have any? They don't have to have any.
No. So you obviously have to be an adult and a resident of Cass County. And,
you have to be an adult.
All of those kinds of things.
Well, according to that library director, you can be 5.
Yeah,
I
guess so. Former library director.
Former
right?
library director.
No, but for me, in terms of the person that we ended up appointing, I wanted a mom. I wanted a mom who was a customer of the library and really just kind of a regular, everyday Cass County citizen. That was important to me. You didn't necessarily have to be like a prominent business owner or, come from a good family and that's not, and I don't mean anything. We appointed a great person with a great family.
With a great family.
And a great, but you don't have to be, some very important person.
You got to be careful
in our
there.
county.
She has a good family. That's
He's
not saying she doesn't have a good family.
I wanted a mom, and I wanted someone who's used to working, and just someone who is, again, kind of
Moms are used to working.
represents, average, solid, good Cass County
That's good.
citizens, and that was really my top qualifying factor. I didn't know, we got a lot of those kinds of applications, so it was really hard to kind of go through those. We were able to kind of whittle it down, and I think we interviewed a couple, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
and
you did interview them then.
I recall. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I recall doing some interviews.
I wasn't sure if you were just going through
We
the
didn't interview
paperwork
everybody.
and going, oh, this one's a good
But
one.
we asked our lawyer, like, what are we, and he's like, you could just appoint really
Just appoint
whoever you
whoever you
wanted
want.
to. I mean, and it really comes down to that. I mean, there's no guidance, there's no system, there's no process. So that was one of the things I kind of wanted to build a process. But some other commissioner could come in the future and just get rid of all that and go back and do it the old way, or do it some other.
But you're
way.
bringing your taste for freshness.
I wanted fresh ideas, fresh perspective, and just someone who hadn't been there for 15 years. And again, no disrespect to people who have served that long. Thank you very much for your service and for your willingness to volunteer and to serve your community for so long. Nothing but gratitude from this side of the microphone. We just wanted something new.
Okay, let's go to the health department.
You bet.
Okay. Health department, we shut down for a blink in March.
That's why I ran for office.
That's why you ran for office. Yeah. That's what you were telling me. I can't remember the guy's name. He just got in. What was the health director's name?
Former director?
Andrew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Andrew was there, and he had just gotten there.
Yes.
I felt so sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because in March when I started conversing with him, he goes, "Yeah, I just got here." And I'm like, "Oh,
yeah.
That's so did I."
Right.
So we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
But he was very helpful in communicating right away with us. And but tell me a little bit about what the commissioner's role is with the health department.
Right. Cass County is a little bit different than a lot of counties that surround us. I'll just say that up front. And what I mean by that is that in our county, and I think it's a good thing, and I would argue this point all day long, that the Cass County Health Department reports to the Cass County Commission, which means it is accountable to the elected legislative and executive and administrative body that governs Cass County, and that's what the County Commission is and what the County Commission does. So it's a good thing that...
Do they not have their own board?
They do not in Cass County. In other counties they do, but not in Cass County.
Not in Cass County.
Correct. And I would, again, argue that that's a good thing.
And we recently have a new health director.
We do.
What's her name?
Sarah.
Sarah.
So,
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So
she was the deputy director under Andrew.
Okay.
And so she was...
Yeah, I got a lot
promoted,
of...
with his, and he left for Platte County.
Yes.
And so Platte County has a larger health department that is run by an independent board that's elected in April.
Yeah.
And they have a dedicated property tax line item with like a $3 million budget. And so it's just a completely different structure than in Cass County. And for someone in the public health field, I can't blame him for wanting to
not
go
be at the top
Platte County.
somewhere. I mean, I wouldn't. It's kind of a blessing in both ways. Right. You're not at the top, so no one's aiming at you, right? And then it's bigger, so it's more of an opportunity for him. Right. He did a good job. I thought he did a good job. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that they make their recommendations. They're not. They make the recommendations to the school. The school decides whether to take those recommendations. I know that they kind of were pointing to the CDC for those recommendations and kind of making the same recommendations, but then based on Cass County stats. So,
well, so the way that both county ordinance as well as the state statute reads, the county health department director actually has a lot of authority. It's draconian in my opinion.
Okay.
Meaning he could have done a lot more than he did.
And you couldn't stop him?
Oh, we could have.
Okay.
But, I mean, he could have implemented a lockdown or a mask mandate. But
thank you, Andrew.
But his replacement would have rescinded it the next day after he was fired.
Ah.
So, and I think the commission was clear on that even before my time.
Gotcha. So you can hire and fire a director on the spot?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, as the Cass County Commission, the way that the way it's currently structured,
it's different from the library.
It is different from the library, which begs the question why.
Yeah.
I've got the same question. But anyway, no. So with him, I enjoyed a good working relationship with him, and I know Bob and Monty thought a lot of him, and were excited about his hire. And I'm told that he was the guy that was brought in to kind of right the ship and take the Cass County Health Department into the next iteration thereof. And so they were certainly sad to see him go. But again, he had a bigger, better opportunity. I think that paid more and all of those kinds of things.
Sure.
And again, his assistant director is now our new health department director, and she's got all the same degrees and qualifications that Andrew does and did. And so we're expecting good things from her. But we've been adamant throughout that we will not have a mask mandate here in Cass County, that we will respect individual liberty, that we will respect businesses to make their own decisions for their own businesses.
You got some pushback from other cities.
We got a lot of pushback from other cities.
I mean, were you totally surrounded by cities that were masking up?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the Kansas City metropolitan area, we were the odd man out. We were the anomaly for sure.
And Belton decided to mask up.
Actually, I believe that Belton that failed in a city council vote, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought they did for a while, though.
They might have for a short time. But yeah, I mean, those. I'm grateful. To my fellow commissioners that, we've been able to kind of hold the line on that and certainly chart a much different course than the city of Kansas City did or Jackson County did. And, our sales tax revenues have really been off the charts because I think people voted with their feet. They came to Cass County to shop or to dine. And
how much did it go up?
And, well, it's still going up. So just
seriously,
for like this month, we're up 13.5% in sales tax receipts over what we were last year.
Why do you think that is?
So not only
now,
was it
though?
up last year, it's still up.
Oh, I guess they're still masking, aren't they?
Jackson County still is.
Yeah, we decided to go.
And Kansas City still is.
We decided to go to a restaurant a couple weeks ago. Yeah. We walked 5 feet to our table.
And took the mask off.
I took the mask off.
Right.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, my daughter, who just celebrated her 14th birthday, wanted to have a fancy birthday lunch with her family on the plaza. So we went down there and we took her out. And same deal, we wore the mask into the restaurant because they make you.
Right.
They seat you, and we're seated next together, and we're right next to the next table, which is about as far away from us as you are to me. And no one has a mask on sitting down. It's theater. It's pure theater at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't understand it,
right.
But yet I understand it to a degree. I understand it. I mean, I could understand. What I don't understand is in places where people are packed together, they don't have to wear masks.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. I have my guesses, but I think that wash your hands.
Right.
Don't touch your face. That's my motto. That's what I've been saying since the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, my family, we were cautious from the get-go as well. We recognized this thing was real from the get-go. There was never any of that in our.
Well, there's just a 29-year-old that just died of COVID.
Family. And I've lost friends.
Yeah.
I've lost friends. I'm sure you have as well.
Yes. It's not fun.
It's real. And we're sitting here in Pleasant Hill, and I can't help but think of the Vescovi family just as we sit here and talk. It is absolutely real.
We were supposed to do this with him.
Oh, God.
Actually, we were going to make pizza together.
Oh, God bless him.
Yeah,
wow.
I was really excited about that one. That would have been a fun one.
That would have been a real fun one.
So anyway.
Well, we keep them and the others who have lost loved ones, in our prayers. And it's never been about that. Eventually we're going to have to learn to live with this thing because it's not going to go away.
And all the stats are on casscounty.com.
They are.
For Cass County.
Yeah, they are. And you can find broader regional stats. Mid-America Regional Council has good statistics, and then the state dashboard also has good statistics if you're looking for COVID data. Hopefully we're on the downswing of this thing.
Oh, yes.
I think everybody's just sick of it.
Yeah.
The majority of people that I talk to are just over it.
Over it. There should be a song, Over It.
Right, yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Over It.
Yep.
Okay, so let's just end with this. What do you and Monty and Bob have planned for roads in the next, 2 months?
So we're actually kind of coming to the end of the season. Weather plays a big role in this, I've come to learn. So, for instance, they just finished chipping and sealing their last road of the season. I've come to learn that
wasn't
chipping
mine.
and sealing, no, it wasn't yours, but hopefully you're on the docket for next year.
Yay!
They really need the heat, the summer months of June and July
Could
to
have done
really
it today.
react with the chemicals, in the system to
Can
really
you believe
get a
this
good chip
weather?
and seal. It's been pretty good recently.
Yeah.
But so we will actually be sitting down next week with our road and bridge department to plan out next year. And I expect we spent a lot of time down by Freeman and Harrisonville and kind of southern parts of the district, or county rather. I know that we'll be up at kind of in the Peculiar and up in this area a little bit more next year. Really, and this shocked me when I took office, but there was never really like a systemized plan for how to address roads in this county.
Really?
It seems like it was just pretty kind of hit or miss or willy-nilly or whatever commissioner wanted to do this. I mean, there was no like systematic
The biggest complainer?
plan. And so
Does that mean I need to make more phone calls?
hey, we respond to phone calls. We absolutely do.
I really appreciate you responding to my Facebook. You were fast on it too.
We try to be right. That's
How can I help you? I'm like, well,
you all pay my salary, so I figure I should probably show up and do my job. And that's part of the job, and you show up, and when you called, we went out and drove your road the next day, and took a look at it, and got a hold of our road and bridge to find out what their status on it was, and we do that every time the phone rings. I remember it was just before the Harrisonville festival a month or two ago.
Oh, right.
The thing on the square there.
Yes.
So I got a call from a constituent, not even my constituent, it was Monty's constituent, out near Parrott Road. And I called her back, and she said, "Listen, I just need you to be quiet and listen to me for a while.
Wow.
I just need to rant or something like that." And I was like, "Okay." So I literally just sat there and listened to her, and it was about half an hour. And then she asked, "Are you still there?" And I said, "Yes, I'm just listening like you asked." And so we had a good conversation. I went out to see her road the next day. We created a plan, talked to Road and Bridge Superintendent, who does a great job, and started to address, her issues.
That's incredible.
So it's just trying to help people, right?
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's amazing that we have people that would just listen. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. But you'd be surprised. Actually, you wouldn't be, because I mean, people want to be heard.
It diffuses it.
And they want to be listened to.
They do.
And they want to feel like you have taken them seriously, and I certainly do.
Thank you for coming.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Having me.
I hope you come again.
I would love to.
I really do.
Anytime you invite, I'll come.
This is a Pleasant Hill Time. This is Connie Whitlock, and until next week.